All right, today we're going to talk about something really important, something that affects all of us, and that's climate change. Now, it's a big topic for sure, so let's try to understand it together.
So, have you ever looked outside or checked the weather and just thought, this feels a bit strange? Maybe the summers seem hotter than you remember, or we're seeing more big storms. Well, you're not alone in thinking that. A lot of people are asking that same question.
And you know what? It's not just a feeling. It's actually a fact. Our planet is changing. Scientists have a lot of evidence that shows this is happening. So let's start by looking at what the science tells us.
Okay, so when we look at the science, reports from all around the world are saying the same thing. Our planet is getting warmer. And the thing is, it's happening really fast. This is why so many scientists are concerned.
So, what does that actually mean, a warmer planet? Well, it causes a few big things to happen. First, the average temperature around the world goes up, and that extra heat, it starts to melt the giant ice caps at the North and South Poles. All that melted ice has to go somewhere, right? It goes into the ocean. And because of that, the sea levels are getting higher. This is a big problem, especially for people who live near the coast.
Now, I know when you hear all this, it can sound pretty scary. And it's totally normal to feel a bit worried about the future. It's a lot to take in, and you're definitely not the only one who feels this way. But, to solve any problem, you have to understand why it's happening in the first place. So, let's move on and ask, why is our planet changing like this? Let's take a look at the causes.
A big reason for this comes down to how we think about things. See, some industries are focused on making money quickly, in the short term. But what we really need is to think about the long term. We need to think about keeping our planet healthy for the future. That whole idea is called sustainability. It just means living in a way that's good for us now, but also good for the people who will live here after us. And this brings us to a really important point. We need to act soon. If we want a safe and healthy world for our kids and their kids, we have to start making changes now. We really can't afford to wait.
But it's not all bad news. This is important to remember. It's not a hopeless situation at all. There are things we can do, and it's not too late. So let's talk about the solutions. What can we do to help?
Okay, so there are 3 big things we can focus on. First, we have to work together. This is a problem for the whole world, so governments and everyday people have to cooperate. Second, each of us can try to reduce our footprint. That just means using less energy. And third, we can use new technology. You've probably heard of renewable energy, like from the sun or the wind. The great thing is, this kind of clean energy is becoming easier and cheaper for everyone to use. And look, you don't have to change your entire life to make a difference. Even small, everyday actions can add up and have a big impact. Things like maybe taking the bus sometimes instead of your car, or just making sure you recycle your paper and plastic. These are simple things, but they really do help.
So all these actions are super important. But there's one tool that makes everything else work even better, and that tool is knowledge. So for this last part, let's talk about why understanding this whole situation is so powerful.
There's that old saying, right? Knowledge is power. Well, it's absolutely true here. It's a simple idea, really. If we want to make a real difference, we need to be educated about the topic. It just makes sense. When you truly understand a problem, you can find much better ways to fix it.
And education isn't just about memorizing facts and figures. It's about learning how to live in a more sustainable way. It's understanding how the choices we make every single day, like what we eat or what we buy, how all that affects our planet. So as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with one question to think about, just one. What is one small change that you could make? It doesn't have to be anything huge. Remember, every little bit helps. Every good choice we make helps build a better, healthier future for all of us. Because the power to make a difference, well, it really does start with each of us.